Welcome. I'm glad you are all here this morning. We shall open up with our opening hymn. Please rise in body and or spirit. For our opening hymn 95, There Is More Love Somewhere.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I will keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is
Well, there's not any joy in London for the New York Jets right now, playing and losing yet again early now on Sunday morning. I am Reverend J. Wolin, the minister of this Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota. We especially want to welcome our visitors both on campus as well as on live stream. We invite our visitors to participate in any of our events. And we welcome visitors to find out more about the Unitarian Universalists of Sarasota and Unitarian Universalism by registering on our guest book, which you can find via a link on our website, uusrq.org. And if you are in person, there's a sign-up sheet for visitors on the welcome table. If you do, you'll get our weekly newsletter as well as a couple of emails with the Zoom links for online programs. We as well want to invite everybody. It's our second Sunday potluck. Today after the service, even if you haven't brought in anything, please join us, be our guest. But we do this every second Sunday of the month. And so we look forward to getting to know each other. A couple of announcements. First, the Immigration Coalition, Justice Coalition, invites you on Saturday, November 8th, to stand with us in a peaceful protest at Big Cypress Detention Center to demand its shutdown and to call for the humane treatment of all detainees. We will have a bus that will be meeting here at 7 a.m. You must register in advance so that we know if we have enough seats or if we need a second bus. The cost is $30 per person. If you cannot afford the $30, there are scholarships available. Just please contact me. Our second announcement, it is with my pleasure to invite Terry Holsinger, former board member, about BidFest.
Good morning. I'm Terry Holsinger, and I'm the chair of the BidFest team, and we have a fantastic group of people working toward getting a very successful auction this year. You'll hear from each of our members team members over the next few weeks, so you don't have to look at me every week. As Ava announced last Sunday, BidFest 2025 is being held on Saturday, see up there, Saturday, November 15th from 11:30 to 2:30. And that's only 4 short weeks away. We're kind of compressed this year. Your $10 ticket will get you a terrific luncheon and live auction, plus all the fun of bidding on your favorite dinners, gift cards, condos, and so far, you could spend the summer in Europe if you'd like, because we have a condo in Coburg, Germany, and another in France, Montpellier in France. So you can bid on those. Woo! We have lessons about everything else your creative minds have donated. You can get your tickets right now online at bidfest.org, or for our YouTube audience, the link is in the comments below. So, Klaus made me say that right there. It's down below. Come to the courtyard to view previous catalogs. You can also see those online. And for ideas to make your donations. Thanks again for your generous support and enthusiasm for the most fun you'll have all year. Thank you.
Good morning. When I first heard this song, this was over the summer, I heard this song and it really kind of reflected how I was feeling at the time, and it's a song that's a little bit angst. So it's from this great punk singer, and so I feel like I should say something just to give you a little heads up that it's okay to feel uncomfortable during this song. It's in response to kind of an uncomfortable feeling, but I promise we will make a journey through the service to find some more joy as we move forward.
Our opening reading is from the book Einstein and Religion, Physics and Theology. When Einstein was once asked to define God, he gave the following allegorical answer. I'm not an atheist, and I don't think I can call myself a pantheist. We are in the position of little children entering a huge library filled with books in many languages. The child knows something or someone must have written those books. It does not know how. It does not understand the languages in which they are written. The child dimly suspects a mysterious order in the arrangements of the books, but doesn't know what it is. That, it seems to me, is the attitude of even the most intelligent human being toward God. We see the universe marvelously arranged and obeying certain laws, but only dimly understand these laws. Our limited minds grasp the mysterious force that moves the constellations. As we light our chalice, let it symbolize our growing awareness of the universe that we live in. Please join me now in affirming our value of transformation, which is in the order of service and is displayed on the screen behind me. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages. Never complete and never perfect.
Namaste. Today's story, The Everything Seed, a story of beginnings, by Carole, Martignacco, illustrated by Joy Troyer. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Have you ever noticed how it begins so small, so still, so quiet, like a gift wanting to be opened, and how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger and larger and larger? Then you know that whatever comes from a seed usually ends up looking very little like the seed that it came from, which is also true of the very first seed. Once, long, long ago, way back before the beginning, so long ago, there was no such thing as time, because there was no one to count it. Everywhere was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun or moon. There was no place like Earth, not a drop of water, or a single tree, or rock, or flower, and no living beings anywhere. But in that deep, waiting space was hidden the tiniest point of something no bigger than a seed. It was not a flower seed. It was not an oak tree seed. It was not a seed of corn, although all those things were included in the seed. You might call it an everything seed, because that is what it became. No one knows where the first seed came from, or how it was planted, or how it knew, in the way that only seeds seem to know, how to wait for just the right moment to sprout and grow. But all at once, the tiny seed, cradled and nourished, in the rich soil of space woke up, broke open, and began to unfold. Unfolding, unfolding, and blossoming forth in an enormous blazing ball of bright light, like a great-grandmother's sun. And the universe was born. Out fluttered the galaxies like a storm of snowflakes swirling and gathering into the brightest, most blindingly beautiful clouds of stars. And out of the star clouds whirled our own star, the one we call the sun, and our earth, and our moon, and all the round spinning planets we have learned to name. And this is the secret of that tiny seed. You and I were there in the very beginning. Just as the idea for each leaf on a big oak tree lies inside the acorn. We were all there with all the stars and planets, all the rocks and oceans, plants, animals, and people. Everything that is now, ever was, and ever will be was inside that first tiny seed. So whenever you hold a seed in your head and wonder what it could become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from that tiniest speck of an everything seed before it sprouted and grew long, long ago in the way back beginning of time. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this story of the universe keeps unfolding. What once began in a blazing blossom of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil of space. New planets and animals appear on the earth. Seeds of many kind are scattered everywhere to help us remember. And new people are born every day with the spark of that first light still alive and burning deep inside, waiting, like the everything seed, to shine in ways that are yet to be known. Beyond renewed wonder and awe at the unfathomable creations of nature, such as seeds, the central truth of this story is this: everything here and everyone is radically related. Science and the awe of mysteries, as told in religious texts, need not be separate, but are part of the same exquisite dynamic of interdependence. I now invite any youth and children here to join the teachers in the West Wing as they explore this month's theme of cultivating compassion with the tiny actions that make a difference.
I always want to make sure, because sometimes he does like a little feint and then goes back. Yeah, let's have fun. I also want to, I didn't mention, I'm sorry I didn't mention it before, the Words for All story for all ages. But of course, you know, Catherine Bonnet we do allow her to take vacation, and she is on vacation this week, in case you were wondering. And so I really want to thank Reina Phair, who very gladly and very well stepped up and shared this story with us. So let's give her a round of applause for that. Our centering in words, since this is a service about Albert Einstein, are from Albert Einstein, from his book Ideas and Opinions. The overemphasis of the purely intellectual attitude, often directed solely to the practical and factual in our education, has led directly to the impairment of our ethical values. I am not thinking so much of the dangers with which technical progress has directly confronted humankind, as of the stifling of the mutual human considerations by a matter-of-fact habit of thought, which has come to lie like a killing frost upon human relations. Fulfillment on a moral and aesthetic side is a goal which lies closer to the preoccupations of art than it does to those of science. Of course, understanding of our fellow beings is important, but this understanding becomes fruitful only when it is sustained by a sympathetic joy, a feeling of joy and in sorrow. So as we go into a time of silence, I ask you to contemplate how you are or could be more sympathetic in understanding individuals in their joys and sorrows, particularly individuals who maybe think or believe differently than you did. So since this was a service about Einstein and religion, instead of doing 2 reflections as I normally do, I decided to just do 1 sermon and read what he wrote and called his credo. Of course, credo meaning creed. Basically, this is what he believes. Of course, this was written earlier in his life in 1932. I thought instead of, I just read that. This is Einstein now. Our situation on this earth seems strange. Every one of us appears here involuntary and uninvited for a short stay, without knowing the why and the wherefore. In our daily lives, we feel only that humans are here for the sake of others, for those whom we love, and for those many other beings whose fate is connected with our own. I am often troubled by the thought that my life is based to a large extent on the work of my fellow human beings, and that I must exert myself now in order to give in the same measure that I have received and am still receiving. I do not believe in free will. Schopenhauer's words, humans can do what they want, but they cannot want what they want, accompany me in all situations throughout my life and reconcile me with the actions of others, even if they are rather painful to me. This awareness of the lack of free will keeps me from taking myself and my fellow humans too seriously as acting and deciding individuals, and as well from losing my temper. I have never coveted affluence and luxury, and even despised them as a good goal. My passion for social justice has often brought me into conflict with people, as has my aversion to any obligation or dependence I did not regard as absolutely necessary. I have a high regard for the individual and an insuperable distaste for violence and fanaticism. All these motives have made me a passionate pacifist and anti-militarist. I am against any chauvinism, even in the guise of mere patriotism. Privileges based on position and property have always seemed to me unjust and pernicious, as does any exaggerated personality cult. How timely. I am an adherent of the ideal of democracy, although I know well the weaknesses of the democratic form of government. Social equality and economic protection of the individual have always seemed to me the important communal aims of the state. The most beautiful and deepest experience a human can have is a sense of the mysterious. It is the underlying principle of religion, as well as all serious endeavors in art and science. Those who never had this experience, seems to me, if not dead, then at least blind. To sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that our minds cannot grasp, whose beauty and sublimity reaches us only indirectly. This is religiousness. In this sense, I am religious. To me, it suffices to wonder at these secrets and to attempt humbly to grasp with my mind a mere image of the lofty structure of all there is. End quote. And as we humbly try to create the image of the lofty structure of this congregation as part of the structure of the community, as part of the structure of the larger universe itself, we will now take our weekly offering. Please be as generous as you can for those online and those here on your cell phone. There is a link in the YouTube channel and a QR code. Let this sacred time begin. In a speech given to the Northwestern Regional Conference of the American Association of Theological Schools, Einstein said, "Knowledge of what is does not open the door directly to what should be. One can have the clearest and most complete knowledge of what is, and yet not be able to deduct from that what should be the goal of human aspirations. Scientific thinking alone cannot lead us to the ultimate and fundamental purpose of our existence. To make clear these fundamental ends and valuations and to set them fast in the emotional life of the individual seems to me precisely the most important function which religion has to perform in the social life of humanity." And now once more the choir.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This love that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This pride that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This pride that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This pride that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it
All right, I'm ready. Are you ready? I don't know what I'm ready for. I don't know what you're ready for, but it's time for the sermon. So why Einstein? Yeah, we often, talk about and turn to the teachings of prophets and religious leaders, Jesus, Buddha, Moses, Gandhi, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for spiritual wisdom. But why look at Einstein for guidance on religion? Well, I will tell you, for me, growing up, Einstein was sort of like a Jewish superhero. I know this, synchronicity, whatever. I grew up less than a half a mile from the Albert Einstein Medical Center in the Bronx. And whenever I made a smart aleck remark in my house, my mother would say, "So, you think you're Einstein?" And I would say, yes, I do. Unfortunately, I did not have his intelligence for physics, but many are probably familiar with this picture. Let's see if they got it up there, right? Very, very often used in popular culture. For you math geeks out there who might not know this, Einstein was born on March 14th, or Pi Day, which may or may not have been a foretelling. Einstein was raised in a non-traditional Jewish household. He actually attended Catholic school as a youngster, and at the same time was trained privately in the customs and culture of Judaism. While working as a patent clerk, he came up with his formalized theory of relativity, which to this day is still a foundation of physics. In 1999, leading physicists voted Einstein the greatest physicist ever, and he was named Person of the Century by Time magazine. I don't really know what that's worth, but it's still something. So why listen to what he has to say about religion? Well, Einstein wrote and spoke extensively about his religious beliefs. And in this country, where there has been such a divide, even more recently, it's gotten worse, between religion and science, when one of the most brilliant minds of all time reflects on faith, I think it is worth reflecting on. Now, I have to be honest, I don't always agree with every position that Einstein took, but he certainly has earned the right to have his thoughts examined. In a world where anti-intellectualism is growing, where many Orthodox religious traditions distrust critical thinking, Unitarian Universalists affirm the opposite of that. We welcome the guidance of reason and the insights of science. Our history is full of scientists who embodied the call to Unitarian Universalism. Michael Servetus, who was killed in the 16th century by Calvin for writing the book on the errors of the Trinity, was the person credited with discovering the blood circulatory system. Reverend Joseph Priestley, one of the founders of Unitarianism in England, was a scientist credited with discovering oxygen. Priestley in the 19th century said, and I quote, "Let us examine everything with the greatest freedom, without any regard to consequences. Let us sow the seeds of truth," end quote. Now, Einstein spoke I could go on and on. There's lists and lists of Unitarian and Universalist scientists. I don't have all day for that. But Einstein spoke of 3 stages of religious development. The first stage he called the primitive state of religion, one that is based on fear that arose due to ignorance of the natural world. And this came from humans' response to such things as hunger, illness, natural disasters, even death, that were beyond their comprehension. The second stage of religious development Einstein called the religion of morality. It was the social or moral conception of God, which arises from the desire for guidance, for love, and support. And this stage still adhered to an anthropomorphic conception of God. Einstein's third stage of religion is the cosmic religious feeling. Resonates, I think, deeply within our Unitarian Universalist sense of interdependence. Right? It's not about a personal God who rewards and punishes, but about experiencing ourselves as part of something vast, beautiful, and mysterious. At this stage, Einstein writes, and I quote, "The individual feels the futility of human desires and aims and the sublimity and marvelous order which reveal themselves both in nature and in the world of thought. Individual existence expresses them as a sort of prison, and they want to experience the universe as a single significant whole. In my view, it is the most important function of art and science to awaken this feeling and keep it alive in those who are receptive to it," end quote. Now, Einstein began violin lessons at the age of 5 and remained devoted to music throughout his life, often listening while he worked. He believed it helped him think, even leading to breakthroughs in his thought process. Nowhere he said, does mysticism find more complete expression in music, end quote. I think that's true. Music moves us beyond words. It raises up within us this emotional feeling that we don't always get all the time just from listening to the verbal word. It bypasses logic. It touches something deeper, right? A resonance between our souls and the universe. And that resonance is why nearly every religion weaves music into the worship service. It helps us to feel this cosmic order that Einstein described. In 1930, Einstein had 2 meetings with the Indian philosopher and artist Rabindranath Tagore, where they discussed, among other things, music, the nature of humanity, and the universe. Tagore said, when our universe is in harmony with humanity, the eternal, we know it as truth. We feel it as beauty, end quote. Whereas Tagore could not see the universe or the divine as separate from humanity, Einstein saw truth as independent of humanity. It is a basic question of if a tree falls in the forest and there is no one there, does it make a noise? If we are not here to perceive the universe, does it exist? And although we may perceive the universe differently, both Einstein and Tagore agreed that in our uncertainty we are striving to reconcile our individual perception with some ultimate truth of reality. And this to me as well, this is one of the underlying questions that all religions ask. Einstein's search for the ultimate truth also led him into a profound debate with fellow physicist Niels Bohr about the nature of reality and free will. And I need to do something here. Okay. So Einstein believed the universe was governed by strict, comprehensible laws, even if we didn't understand what all those laws were. To Einstein, randomness was only a sign of incomplete knowledge. God does not play dice with the universe, Einstein famously declared. Bohr counted that quantum mechanics shows reality is inherently uncertain, that chance is not ignorance, but a fundamental part of nature itself. And Bohr famously replied to Einstein, "Stop telling God what to do." This wasn't just a scientific quarrel, it was a philosophical one. Einstein's view implied a determined universe where free will might be an illusion, while Bohr's left space for spontaneity, unpredictability, and genuine choice. Their disagreement reminds us that science, like religion, wrestles with the deepest questions of existence. Are we actors following a cosmic script, or participants shaping the very story itself? Einstein and Bohr never, of course, resolved the question, and perhaps we never will, although I think this will be a great service for a topic later in the year or next year. But the conversation itself reveals how science and spirituality often circle the same mysteries. We don't think of it that way, but science as well is very much faith-based, striving to reconcile theories with some ultimate truth of reality. Einstein had a vision of how the universe functioned, and then he tried to prove it. Right? He didn't just do some calculations that built upon one another, and then one day in a final equation it gave him the answer. Right? He had as deep a revelation as did any mystic. He then went on to try and prove his vision's authenticity through trial and error. It was his faith in his vision of how the universe was structured, faith that the universe had a structure and was not just random accidents that drove his creative and scientific endeavors. Einstein said science can only be created by those who are thoroughly imbued with the aspiration toward truth and understanding. This source of feeling, however, springs from the sphere of religion. To this, there also belongs the faith in the possibility that the regulations valid for the world of existence are rational, and that is comprehensible to reason. I cannot conceive of a genuine scientist without that profound faith. The situation may be expressed by an image. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Our moral judgments, our sense of beauty, and religious instincts are tributary forms in helping the reasoning faculty toward its highest achievements. Science cannot teach humanity to be moral, and every attempt to reduce ethics to scientific formulae must fail, end quote. So to show the gap between scientific achievement and ethical responsibility, I would point towards Einstein's own action in regard to the atomic bomb. Einstein was an ardent advocate for social justice and pacifism during his lifetime. And yet he wrote a letter to President Roosevelt during World War II encouraging him to develop what would become the atom bomb. Now, although he had very little to do with the creation of the bomb itself, this letter did move Roosevelt to accelerate the study of the technology that Einstein highlighted. There are many stories about how he was impacted by Einstein in this decision. And so in November 1954, 5 months before his death, Einstein said, and I quote, "I made one great mistake in my life when I signed the letter to President Roosevelt recommending that atom bombs be made. But there was some justification, the danger that the Germans would make them," end quote. And that right there is the ultimate question of ethics, right? Justification for doing something that we may believe is immoral. How often are we faced with these type of decisions in our daily lives every day? Does the end justify the means, or are the means an end in themselves? Science cannot teach us this. It is in our actions that we determine morality. And if those actions are in harmony with the universe, we can experience this cosmic religion. Scientists cannot teach us morality, and this is where religion must come in. Unitarian Universalism, our tradition, counsels us against the idolatries of the mind as well as the spirit. The idolatry of the mind is the rationalization of doing immoral acts simply because they are logical or expedient. Unitarian Universalism calls us to have a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Even the most brilliant mind in the world admitted he was not always right. Yet Einstein kept searching for truth, for understanding, for a universe in harmony with itself. And that is our calling too. We do not know the ultimate causation of all of our actions. We act in faith that the universe bends towards justice. And when it does not, we feel disharmony and we try to seek to repair it. Through trial and error, through questions and actions, we move, even if slowly, step by step, closer to the truth. May our search, like Einstein's, keep us forever curious, forever humble, and forever striving toward the greater whole of which we are a part. May it be so. Please rise and body and or spirit for our closing hymn, Wake Now My Senses. Are Albert Einstein's old man's advice to youth. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when they contemplate the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery each day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Please join me now in extinguishing our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you for your presence here today. Go forth, eat well at the potluck, search, seek, find. Thank you.